We are so excited to have you here today. My name is Phyllis Wester. I am the System Director of Food and Nutrition here at Advent Health in Port Charlotte. On behalf of my incredible management team, we would like to thank you all for being here today, and we would like to thank you guys for having us as part of your series. We are so incredibly excited to be here today. We're going to explore the importance of a heart-healthy diet and how just small changes can make a big impact on your overall wellness. So we've got a fantastic program lined up for you today, and to kick things off, our fabulous dietitians sitting down here, they're going to present on how to build and maintain a heart-healthy eating plan. They're also going to guide you through some oftentimes it's confusing how to read food labels. So they're going to help you understand that a little bit better so that when you're out shopping for groceries, you can make better choices for you and your family. After that, our culinary team will take the stage to demonstrate not one, not two, but 3 delicious heart-healthy recipes. And yes, you'll get to sample everything. And we want you to taste how flavorful and satisfying food that is often thought to be flavorless or bland when you hear the word heart healthy. Before we get started, I want to make sure everybody has a goodie bag in front of you. In your goodie bag, you've got an Advent Health pen. You've got the recipes that we're going over today. And I want to show you that that little bag actually ties up into this cute little pouch here. So not only can you do a little advertising for us, but you can be eco-friendly while you're shopping. So real quick, I want to show you because you would wonder, how does that happen? So down here at the end where the little drawstring is, you just pull everything in there. It fits, and then you just tie the little drawstring, put it in your purse, put it in your car, and there you go. Yes, ma'am.
What is Advent Health?
Okay, so we already have a question, and I'm happy to tell you about it. So let me get into the next paragraph, and it's going to tell you a little bit about it. But she asked, what is Advent Health? So I'd like to share a little bit about our hospital. So if any of you have lived in the Charlotte County area for a while, you know that we're located right here on Harbor Boulevard. Our hospital has been serving the community for over 65 years. And over the decades, and this is sometimes a joke, unfortunately, we talk about how many different names we've had. So let's just shout out. What names do you know that our hospital was called? St. Joe's. Bon Secours, yes. Bayfront, yes. There's one more. Shore Point. And we were also Charlotte Regional, no, Peace River Medical Center. So on March 1st, Advent Health purchased us. We were previously owned by a company that owns hospitals all over the country called Community Health Systems, also known as CHS. So they purchased us. We are now part of a very large healthcare system that spans 50 states, and we have over 100,000 employees. So Advent Health, the closest Advent Health to us right now, we just recently built one in Riverview, which is up the interstate kind of between here and Tampa. So there's a brand new one there, but Advent Health has been centered in the Orlando area for a long time. Many of you may have heard of it called Florida Hospital. Sebring, Wauchula, Lake Placid, and many of our hospitals on the East Coast used to be called Florida Hospital Sebring, Florida Hospital DeLand. We have now all come under one umbrella, and we are called Advent Health. And then our location is just what determines the specific hospital. So Advent Health is thrilled to be expanding into Southwest Florida, and I am very excited to share some big news that just came out on social media yesterday. We closed on a land deal in Punta Gorda down by Jones Loop. Where we will begin building at first a 24-room freestanding emergency department. And that will be the future site of the Punta Gorda Hospital. So I don't know if any of you are new to the area, but our Punta Gorda Shore Point Hospital, which was our sister hospital, which many of us have worked at also, it was closed last October after Helene and Milton. We had horrible flooding. After Milton, it was absolutely unsafe to go into. We had water up to 4 feet inside the building. Lots of things were damaged. We did try to repair. Ultimately, as Shore Point, they decided to just shutter the building, and we relinquished the license to run the hospital. That was part of the purchase when Advent Health bought the hospital here in Port Charlotte. They also bought the hospital in Punta Gorda. So that is how we will continue providing excellent medical care to our community in Punta Gorda, starting with this freestanding emergency room, and then that will be the site of our new hospital that will replace the one that will not open. Last thing I want to tell you is, obviously, we don't do the stuff alone. We have an amazing team of about 45 hourly associates that work in the hospital. They not only take care of our patients, but they provide food to our doctors, our employees, family members, anyone that comes into the building. We also have a coffee shop that we run inside the hospital. We do numerous caterings to lots of our meetings that we have, whether it's out in the community or our board members and all of the physicians that we have inside the hospital as well. So mush and Jell-O are definitely a thing of the past. Everything that we create for our patients and for our cafeteria, we make from scratch. We don't bring frozen food in. We use all fresh vegetables and fruits. We roast our own meats. We make fresh mashed potatoes every day. We use locally sourced produce. We use sustainable seafood. It is very, as you said, well, thank you. One of the things that we've been trying to do for over 10 years is change the way people think about hospital food. And with this talk about heart-healthy food, this will kind of help you understand why, if you are a patient in the hospital and you are on a cardiac diet, you will not get salt, but it does not mean that your food is going to be without flavor. And while you cook at home, if we could maybe get some of you to put that salt shaker to the side, there are so many other things that you can flavor your food with. But yes, we run our kitchen like a 5-star restaurant.
As Phyllis said, my name's Rachel. I have my wonderful colleagues here with me that I've personally known and in the workforce for about 15 plus years. So we're in good company. We have a lot of knowledge and education between the three of us, and we're hoping to share some of that with you guys today. We are going to be discussing heart-healthy eating, and as Phyllis said, we're hoping that you guys could wait till the end of the presentation, and we would love to visit with you guys individually so we can answer any questions for you. Sound good? All right, let's get started. So some of our objectives today that we're going to be looking at, just as the comparison of the different types of fats. There are good fats, and we don't like to call any food really a bad fat, so we're going to call them not so good fats. And the ways they affect our blood cholesterol. We're also going to look at some dietary suggestions to help achieve any of your personal goals that you might have. Some simple changes when choosing foods, portion sizes and label reading, reducing sodium in the diet, and also some anti-inflammatory and some plant-based information. So why do we eat a well-balanced diet? There's obvious reasons. We want to make sure we're getting our calories and our protein, our vitamins and our minerals, and also to feel our best, look our best. But there's also some uncontrollable risk factors that we cannot control. And every one of us, it affects every one of us. The first one being age, as we all don't like to admit. Every one of us is getting a little bit older, just a little bit. As that happens, some of the bodily processes start to slow down, and it's not functioning like they were when we were younger. You know, when we were younger, we could kind of eat whatever we want. So as we age, that's why it's so important to try and watch what we're putting into our bodies, what we're eating, to make those conscious decisions about our nutrition. The next is heredity. If it runs in the family, if mom's mom had it, or if the family or the dad's side had it, a lot of times you can't get your numbers exactly where you'd like them to be, or what the textbook says it should be. So that's why we encourage you to watch your nutrition, because it could be way worse if you're eating whatever that you want. Race and gender also play a role in this that we will talk about in a little bit. All right, so saturated fats. Is this our good fat or our not so good fat? Okay, good. So saturated fats are more solid at room temperature. Their major sources are from animal and dairy products. We're not saying you obviously can't eat animal and dairy products ever. It's just about making modifications and choosing alternatives that would be better and lower in saturated fat so you don't raise your blood cholesterol. So major sources are like beef or fatty processed meats, fried foods, whole milk, even 2% milk is high in saturated fat. And then anything that's made with whole milk, like cheese or yogurt or anything that's yogurt-based that's made with that whole milk of 2% is going to be high in saturated fat. So like I said, there's modifications and different alternatives for all of these. Also, baked goods have a lot of saturated fat usually. Next slide. They can also be found in vegetable sources, though. Coconut oil, which was a big craze about 5-10 years. Everybody was promoting it. And it does have some anti-inflammatory properties in it. It has something called lauric acid. However, it is very high in saturated fat. So if you have heart disease or you're at risk for heart disease, it's probably best to try to eliminate or at least reduce that in your diet. Palm oil and palm kernel oil, you don't hear a lot about that, but those are very high in saturated fats. Butter, which is a controversial topic, is very high in saturated fat. I know, the people say it's more natural, so I always tell my patients or anybody that's talking to me that if you choose to do butter because it's more natural, try a light butter. Land O'Lakes, Smart Balance, they make light butters that would cut back on that saturated fat. If you're choosing butter, you also want to watch your serving size. It's only about probably 2 teaspoons to a tablespoon, so that's a small amount if you're going to choose to use regular butter. Okay? The other alternative would be to use margarines, depending on your taste and your preferences or whatever you're going to do. I see a lot of head shaking. No, no, no. So if you do margarine, it's your preference. You want to look at your total saturated fat and trans fat and make sure it's no more than 2 grams. And once again, you're going to want to be watching your serving size with that. Hydrogenated oils, a lot of companies have gotten these out of foods. So you used to hear of trans fat, but that has kind of gotten out. That's still on the food label, but you really don't see hydrogenated oils anymore. If a product has that in there, you will have to look at the food label underneath. There's an ingredient list, and we'll be going over the food label in a little bit. So what makes saturated fats bad? You're taking your LDL. Is that your good or bad cholesterol? That's your bad. We think of L as in lousy. So you're taking your lousy cholesterol. It's already lousy, right? We're eating saturated fat, and we're raising it. We're making it lousier. So that's the reason saturated fats should be eliminated in the diet, okay? So in order to reduce LDL, saturated fats must be reduced in the diet. You can go to the next slide. Thanks. So polyunsaturated. Are these better fats? These are better than the saturated fats. So these are more liquid at room temperature. These include vegetable oils like safflower, sunflower, corn, soybean, cottonseed. Also our nuts, nuts and seeds, walnuts, pecans, sunflower seeds, and flax seeds. So the reason these are considered better fats is they're taking your lousy cholesterol and they're lowering them. So we're lowering our bad cholesterol. And they can also have a positive impact on our HDL. And we think of H as in our healthier cholesterol. So there's not a whole lot of evidence on how much it improves our healthy cholesterol, but it has been shown to improve it. Example of a polyunsaturated fat are omega-3s. Thank you. And then monounsaturated, I'm sure you all heard of. That's usually what we classify as one of the best fats. These are more liquid at room temperature. They take our lousy cholesterol, same as the polyunsaturated, and lower it. And they also may increase our healthy HDL. Plant foods such as nuts and almonds, cashews, pistachios, avocados, vegetable oils, which I'm sure you've all heard, olive is one of the best, canola, peanut, and sesame. So how do we lower our blood cholesterol? In other ways that we already just discussed. You want to maintain a desirable body weight. So if you're overweight, one of the best things that you can do, they say, is try to lose about 10% of your body weight. So and it all depends on your age, your height and weight, female, male, of what your weight should be. But if you are overweight, say you're 200 pounds, if that would be considered overweight for you, just losing 20 pounds is going to get you some of the best health benefits. Your numbers are going to start to get better. it's going to motivate you to want to have a better plan and start, keep going with your goals. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so other ways to lower cholesterol, reduce your total dietary fat. And these numbers might not make any sense to you, but it's just to give you an example. So for men, that's about 55 to 65 grams. And this is based off a 2,000 calorie diet. Your intake of saturated fat drops even lower to 7%. So for men, that's about 15 grams, and women, that's about 12 grams. So to put that into perspective, we talked about the coconut oil a little bit ago. About 2 tablespoons of coconut oil is almost 12 grams of sat fat. So you can see how you're already at your goal for the day. So you're eating lettuce and fruit the rest of the day. So just something to keep in mind, or even just an average cheeseburger that you would sit down and eat. One of those is probably at least 12 to 15 grams. So by cutting out and choosing leaner meats and all that and your oils, it can cut back. All right, this just talks about the different food groups. Low protein sources is low-fat dairy, which we touched on. So more skim milk instead of your whole milk and 2%. Eggs, I know that's a controversial thing. It's changed throughout the years. It goes back and forth. Eggs are high in cholesterol, the yolks, but they are low in saturated fat. So new research is showing since it's low in saturated fat, it's not raising our blood cholesterol like they thought it used to be. So we're not saying you go out and eat all the eggs you want, but before it used to be a couple a week. Now I'm saying at least maybe about one a day would be okay if you want to incorporate that. If you wanted to have more than one egg, you can incorporate egg whites or egg beaters to, but that egg yolk gives you that flavor and the color that looks like real eggs. Fish, as long as it's not fried, skinless poultry, legumes, soybeans, and lean ground meats. Okay, so you want to eat a variety of fresh foods when possible. Try to eliminate junk food, such as potato chips, cookies, and all your snacks. Replace high-calorie snacks with fruits and vegetables when you're able. If you do snack, choose lighter options that they have available, like a light popcorn. They make the 100-calorie packs, which are portion-controlled, unsalted pretzels, or a healthy type of granola or breakfast bar. Eliminate or avoid as much as possible. And we already talked about our dairy products, making those leaner, half and half, whole milk and ice cream. Cheese should contain no more than 5 grams of fat per ounce. And like I said, there's alternatives for all those. Cheese, they make lower fat cheeses. Alpine Lace, Laughing Cow Light makes really nice reduced fat cheeses. So you just have to kind of taste them out and see what you're liking and just stay within that, the parameters. This slide makes people mad, I'm sorry. Eliminate or avoid as much as possible fried food, sausage, bacon, spare ribs, hot dogs, all your favorites, okay? High-fat lunch meats. So they do make things and alternatives like turkey dogs, but you also have to balance out your sodium. So you have to figure out, okay, I'm going to cut the fat, but you have to kind of balance out those two, because when you're taking one thing away, you're adding something into it to make it have more flavor. So it's a balancing game. Salad dressings can be very high in fat. Oil and vinegar is a great alternative if you're choosing a good oil and watching your serving. Low-fat dressings by reading your food labels. They do make low-fat yogurt-based dressings that kind of mimic ranch and blue cheese, but it's much lower in fat. And then all your high-fat condiments. You don't think this really adds up, but mayonnaise is probably only about 2 tablespoons as a serving size, so choosing lower-fat mayo. Kraft makes a really good one with olive oil that's about half the fat, half the calories, and it still tastes really good. Same with sour cream, cream cheese, and ice cream, all full of fat, but you just have to choose a lower fat alternative. Omega-3s we kind of touched on. This is one of our better fats. They are heart-healthy fats to help to lower our blood cholesterol. They may reduce your risk of heart disease. There's 3 different types. There's ALA, EPA, and DHA. You don't need to know all that, but just that both found in fatty fish, the EPA, DHA is the best one for you. It seems to provide the most benefit for the heart. So good choices, which I'm sure you all have heard of, is salmon, tuna, mackerel, sardines, if you can get them down. You want to try to aim to eat fish twice per week. If you don't like fish, you can always do just a supplement that you can get that gives you either fish oil or omega-3s that way.
So my name's Lynn. Everybody's doing good today? You're enjoying it? Okay, so we're going to talk about sodium, why we need it. Sodium helps maintain the fluid balance in the body. Wherever sodium goes, water follows. It helps transmute nerve impulses and maintains muscle contractions. It helps regulate blood pressure. If you have too much sodium, it attracts fluid in your body. You get too much fluid, it affects your blood vessels and puts too much pressure on them and can lead to hypertension. Too much sodium is linked to several health problems, including high blood pressure, heart disease, and kidney disease. Sodium information must be listed on the food label if one is provided. Low sodium items are considered to be 140 milligrams of sodium or less. That's important to know when you're looking at a food label. The body only actually needs about 220 milligrams of sodium, not very much. When you compare that to a teaspoon of salt, that has 2,300 milligrams. So, yes. Healthy adults can have up to 2,300 milligrams a day. If you have heart problems, such as congestive heart failure, you should have no more than 1,500 milligrams. The average American consumes between 4,600 and 9,200 milligrams of sodium a day. And that's due to processed foods, convenience foods, restaurant food, fast food. So based on 2,300 milligrams a day, that allows you between 500 and 700 milligrams per meal for 3 meals a day. You want to choose foods that have less than 200 milligrams for a snack. And then you want to watch your portion sizes. If you double the portion size, then you're going to double the sodium as well as the fat and everything else. All right, so here's the sodium content of some common foods. A dill pickle's got 833 milligrams. Tomato juice, 6 ounces, 658 milligrams. Instant pudding, 475 milligrams. I don't know if anybody uses that anymore. Low-fat cottage cheese, 459 milligrams. Cornflakes, 280. Italian dressing, 236. Potato chips, 180. And white bread, 1 slice, 123 milligrams. All right, so guidelines for reducing your sodium intake. You want to remove the salt shaker from the table. Don't even put it on the table so you're not tempted. Excuse me. You want to taste your foods before salting. A lot of people like to just pour that salt on before they even taste it. Your food might not even need extra salt. So, limit the amount of salt in cooking. If a recipe calls for a teaspoon of salt, try using half a teaspoon or a third of a teaspoon instead. You want to limit processed and convenience foods, very high sodium. Things like lunch meats, bacon, ham, chips, crackers, canned food, those kind of things. Try experimenting with herbs and spices. There's tons of herbs and spices that can add wonderful flavor to your food without adding salt. Things like garlic, ginger, cumin, paprika, oregano, basil, and thyme. It's a good idea to get used to reading food labels and comparing different products and choosing the one that's got lower sodium. When you go to restaurants, you can ask for your food to be prepared without added salt. A lot of restaurants are happy to accommodate special requests like that. And then you want to get used to knowing what foods are lower in sodium, which are your natural whole foods like fresh fruit, vegetables, unprocessed meats, eggs, and unsalted dairy products. So this is just an example of natural foods that have no seasoning. So half of a chicken breast has got 64 milligrams of sodium. A cup of brown rice, no seasoning, 10 milligrams. A cup of natural broccoli, 64 milligrams for a total of 138 milligrams. So not a lot of sodium, so you've got some wiggle room there to add some seasoning. And this is an example of a simple breakfast, just to show you how the sodium can add up very quickly. A cup of cornflakes has got 280 milligrams. A cup of skim milk, 120. 2 slices of wheat toast, 40 milligrams. 1 to 2 teaspoons of margarine, 45. For a total of 685 milligrams. So, all right, we're going to talk about the anti-inflammatory diet now. So there's 2 types of inflammation, acute inflammation and chronic inflammation. Acute inflammation is good it helps the body heal from injuries and infection. Chronic inflammation, which lasts a long time, is not so good. It can lead to some major chronic diseases such as cancer, heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, and depression. So there's certain foods that cause inflammation, such as your highly processed foods, things that have preservatives in them, like nitrites, and also artificial colors, artificial flavorings, artificial sweeteners. Your refined carbohydrates, such as white bread and pastries, French fries and other fried food, soda and sugar-sweetened beverages, red meat, and processed meat, such as hot dogs and sausages, because they have nitrites and also because they're high in saturated fat. Margarine, if it's too high in saturated fat, and also excessive alcohol consumption as well. So one of the most powerful tools to combat inflammation comes not from the pharmacy, but from your grocery store. Foods that combat inflammation are generally high in antioxidants. Antioxidants help fight free radicals, which, they just help fight free radicals. They can lead to disease. So, anyway, foods that are high in antioxidants are tomatoes, olive oil, leafy green vegetables like spinach, kale, broccoli, collard greens, fruits such as strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, cherries, apples, and oranges. Also nuts like almonds and walnuts, but you want to watch your serving sizes because they are high fat, which means high calorie. Your fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, tuna, and sardines as well, they have omega-3 oil, which is an anti-inflammatory as well. Also, a lot of your herbs and spices have lots of antioxidants in them, such as turmeric, ginger, garlic, chili peppers, basil, cinnamon, rosemary, thyme. Turmeric and ginger are especially powerful natural anti-inflammatory agents, so get used to adding more of those to your cooking. All right, so the plant-based diet. A plant-based diet is the only diet proven to prevent and reverse heart disease. It focuses on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. It excludes or limits animal proteins, including meat, dairy, and eggs. It also focuses on whole grains such as oats, quinoa, farro, and other grains. It uses healthy oils like olive oil and avocado oil. It limits highly refined foods such as bleached flour, sugary beverages, and snack foods. Try having a meatless meal once a week, like Meatless Mondays. So a plant-based diet doesn't necessarily mean that you need to go vegetarian or vegan. It just means trying to incorporate more plant-based foods into your diet so you get the nutritional benefits.
So the new food label came out in 2016. This is to help simplify and just peruse your label on every food, if you so choose, at the grocery store. So starting on your left side, you want to look at your serving, then your calories, and you want to limit, of course, the total fat, the saturated fat, the cholesterol, and sodium. And then all of the nutrition labels are based on a 2,000 calorie diet per day. Not that we all need those 2,000 calories. There is a simple guide. So if a food has 5% daily value, as you see on your right-hand side in the blue column, it means that it's low. If the food value has 20% or above, it means it's high. So if something has saturated fat that's 21%, we would say that's a high daily value. You need to limit it or avoid it, depending on what you choose to do. Today's menu, our appetizer is the red quinoa salad. Then we will go to the main course, which is marinara sauce, roasted vegetables over chickpea linguine. The dessert, of course, is citrus mousse, which is yummy and light. In comparison, when we're looking at the food label, if we choose fresh on the left, making it from scratch, it's over 400 milligrams less than the canned marinara. So we're doing fresh today. If you choose more whole grain pasta or something brown rice, you would get higher grams of fiber. So you see the chickpea pasta per serving is 5 grams of fiber, and the fiber of regular pasta is 2 grams. So you're just increasing that by making different choices. Fiber. Why would we incorporate fiber? It helps our bowels, right? We aim to get 25 to 30 grams per day, and we want to get it from whole grains, beans, legumes, brown rice instead of white rice. You can do fiber supplements to add. You want to start with a low amount of fiber and increase if you have not been eating a higher fiber diet, because you don't want to, make cement. You want to drink plenty of fluid with that fiber. I love it, because back in the day when I was in school, that's what one of the dietitians, she says, now you have to tell them they have to have more water because they'll make cement if they just eat fiber. We don't want to make cement. Next one. Portion sizes are one of the things that we can do. You ever hear of the GLP-1 drugs that they're doing, the injections, Ozempic, and of course, they're all out there. And it helps, my physician said, to realize how small and how little we need to eat, not our big portions that we see served to us in most restaurants and, of course, fast food chains. So a serving of fruits and vegetables are typically a half of cup. A 3-ounce portion of meat, of any meat, that is lean, obviously, with low cholesterol, and cheese. We really don't need that much saturated fats. 3 little cubes of cheese are equal to 1.5 ounces. So that's basically 1 serving. A small baked potato, it's not those monster big old baked potatoes you see in restaurants. And you always, of course, want to read the food labels because you want to be well informed. So judging the size of a serving is a skill. It takes a little practice. You need to either measure it or weigh it. As I said, portion sizes are currently too big. You want to use a smaller plate or bowl. Instead of using a 14-inch plate, use a 10-inch plate. Measure and portion out your food. Don't eat out of a box or a bag, because we get mindless eating and eat too much. Don't overload your plate. Your eyes are bigger than your stomach, as you remember as a child. You want to not take seconds, and make and take your time eating. Make it a 20-minute meal, not, just to get it over with. It's usually easier and slower if you eat with friends and family. You want to be kind of intuitive. Is this healthy for me? Is it a good choice? Did I do the right serving? Don't try to eat when you're just starving. Try to kind of space out your meals and eat when you're hungry, but not overly hungry, because you'll eat too much. Focus on what you can do to make small changes. Choose this over that. The lower salt over the higher salt. The lower fat, the healthier fat over the badder, worse fats for you. Stay positive. It just takes small changes.
Hello, my name is Matt. I'm the executive chef at Advent Health. Today we're going to make you 3 different dishes, healthy choices using fresh ingredients, fresh herbs, and some vinegars and lemon juices and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoy. First one we're going to make is a red quinoa salad.
Can y'all hear Matt?
No?
I'm going to be his microphone girl.
We have some pre-cooked red quinoa, fresh basil and mint, the chickpeas, fresh diced tomatoes, diced onions, a little bit of feta cheese for saltiness. If you add something like feta cheese to this dish, you won't have to add any more salt to it. This is not working well. But we're going to go with it. And some nice cucumber. Do that. Give it a little mix. We like to use vinegars and oils in our salads for our cafeteria. They add a lot of flavor, and they're very easy to make. That's a little red wine, a little olive oil right there. Just mix it all up.
Can you ladies smell it? Yes. It smells really good.
Fresh herbs are really nice to use instead of the dry herbs, because they have just an absolute wonderful flavor, and they enhance anything you put them on, from mint to desserts to basil to marinaras or whatever you may use.
And you use
Absolutely. I only use avocado oil at my house. I bake brownies with it. It replaces everything. I don't use any of those kind of oils. Oh, you could use olive oil too, but it's the avocado oil for us. It's better for you. Less fats. Yes. Yep. Well, you can use olive oil. It has a high smoke point, meaning if you put it in a saute pan, you could leave it on high for almost indefinitely, and it won't burn on you. Canola oils have a lower smoke point, is why if you turn it on like medium high, and you leave it there, it really starts to smoke, and it'll make your food taste burnt. So some of these, olive oil has a high smoke point, but avocado oil that's what I use, yep.
We are moving on to the entree. In case you didn't hear, this is a pasta dish, but this is not traditional pasta. This pasta is made with chickpeas. So it's better for you. It has protein in it. But we're doing chickpea pasta with roasted vegetables and a fresh marinara sauce. So chef is gloving up, and he's getting ready to do the next one.
Okay, our marinara recipe is you have a copy of it right there, and we don't use a lot of sweeteners. Some people put sugar in their marinaras, and your store-bought marinaras are filled with sugar and filled with salt. You know, making your own at home is a much better option because you can make it to your taste. If you don't like it sweet, you don't have to put anything in. If you want to make it sweet, we were talking about people put big carrots in there. They have a natural sweetener to them, so you don't have to use sugars. Vinegars are always a good thing. I put vinegar on a lot of stuff. Adds flavor. There's thousands of different flavors of vinegar. You can make your own. You can put garlic in vinegar. If you wanted to put vanilla in vinegar, you could, but you can make a lot of things out of that. All right, so we're going to start with our marinara. We have a little olive oil right here. Got in the pan. One is, canola oil is a bunch of oils, and they make one oil out of it. Olive oil comes from olives. They press it, and that's it. Yes, that is correct. So we have our garlic in there. It's nicely browning. We take our homemade marinara, put that in the bottom. Boom. That's hot. Huh? No smoke. You are correct. You are correct. And as David would say, through the magic of television, we have some nice cooked chickpea pasta here for you. But this pasta, the sauce right here already has the fresh basil in it, the garlic, the onions, and everything else you need for it in the recipes themselves. Stir that up. Get rid of this. Plate this up. Do that. Boop. That'll make it look good. This is hot as hell. And then what I like to do after I roast my vegetables, we have zucchini, squash, peppers, carrots, a little salt and pepper, a little olive oil on them. We throw them in the oven. At home, I throw them in the oven. I use my oven a lot. If I make sauteed mushrooms, I usually don't saute them. I olive oil them up. I throw everything in the oven. So, yep. They get pretty good. They don't get soft. They keep their color. So we're going to drop these in here. Then I always put my vegetables, usually I put back into whatever sauce I've made. Gives them the flavors also. Jesus. Those out. That right there. Yes, yes. Oh.
Would you get something like that in the hospital?
Get something like this?
Yes.
Well, we don't serve chickpea pasta in the hospital, but we do have pasta dishes that come with sauce that we make. Currently, we have a bolognese sauce that we serve with a pasta. We also have lasagna that we make fresh. We make lasagna every Friday. It's on the patient menu on Saturday. Chickpea pasta is still something that's a little not so mainstream. So it would maybe be something that as a whole, most of our patients might not be really accepting of, but we wanted to bring something to you guys that was very different. Yes, ma'am.
Jovial makes a lasagna noodle.
Who does?
Jovial.
Oh, okay.
No one would even know that it's gluten-free.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Really?
good. Good. And that's also, a lot of people are trying to go gluten-free, so not using a pasta and using chickpea instead of be a good option.
And that is the
Oh, that's beautiful.
chickpea pasta,
Nice.
roasted vegetables, fresh marinara, and basil. We also garnished it with some shaved Parmesan and fresh parsley.
And that, of course, the Parmesan will also add a salty flavor to it as well.
Okay, this is a simple recipe. It's about 4 ingredients. It's a low-fat Greek yogurt. Put that in there. Then we use a no sugar whipped topping. Next we have a touch of lemon juice, touch of lime juice, and we whip that together.
Now, this recipe used to be on our patient menu. It is perhaps going to be making a comeback in December. We are rolling out a brand new patient menu, and I think this one might be on it, but this is one of our very favorite recipes. It was a big patient favorite when we had it on the menu, and it is super easy to make.
Yes, it is. And then what we do is we take our little cup.
I never knew what a touch was.
That's a touch. A few is 2 or a few is 3. That's a touch.
Okay.
Then we use a little crushed graham cracker. A little of that on top. And finally, we do
Here's the fancy part.
This is to give it more citrus. We do a little fresh lemon zest. And that is our homemade citrus mousse recipe.
And it smells so good, and look, what we made it in like 45 seconds.
You could literally make that at home. Use the no sugar whipped topping instead of using sugars or powdered sugars to make stuff. The vanilla yogurt is low fat, so you don't have to use puddings. If you use pudding, usually they have a lot of fat unless you use a sugar-free pudding. But this is a great recipe, and every time we have it on the patient menu, they absolutely love it.
Somebody was asking about the nutrition value of the mousse. So one serving has 7 grams of fat, 127 calories. The sugar, there's 11 grams of sugar in it, and it has 13.5 grams of carbohydrates, and only 17 grams of sodium. So overall, it's many more things that you could eat that would be more unhealthy for you. I can't thank you enough for having us. I can't thank my team enough. That's big applause for our hosts as well. This was a great time, and I'm just going to put it out there. We want to come back. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a great day.